what is the most important thing on this planet for us? To love and to be loved. Hold that thought. I love you.
I love you too.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Ani.
And my name is Karen Ani, and I'm going to just share, Lou asked me to share a funny story of mine. And, you know, it's funny because I'm like, I don't know, I'm looking back, do I have anything funny that happened to me? You can't think. And then Lou said to me, what about the story about the guy upstairs? And I said, oh. And, you know, I heard this, a little twinge went off, but the guy upstairs, I just heard this music, you know, upstairs. And I didn't think twice, but something went off. And I said, well, that's a little loud, but, you know. So I moved in, and, you know, within a couple days, I realized this guy upstairs doesn't stop talking. I can't explain it. It's like he's just talk. He's on the phone, and he's talking, and he's going back and forth. And then every once in a great while, I'd hear this big whoosh across the floor upstairs. It sounded like he had a wild animal up there. So I'm saying, okay, you know, obviously there's something going on here. I said, I know, you know, I do yoga. I've been doing yoga for 20 years, meditate, qigong. I'm going to handle this. I'm going to get to know this guy. I'm going to get to know him, and I'm just going to casually bring up that he's loud. You know, I'm going to do this in a civil way. So I said, okay, I said, John, listen, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but sometimes when you're on the phone, I can hear every single thing that you say on the phone. I said, I understand you live on the top floor, you know, and maybe you don't realize, you know, I get it. I'm getting it that you don't hear, you know, me underneath there. And he goes, oh, you know, sometimes I can be loud. I said, oh yeah, well, that's all right. I said, you know, I understand. So I go back in, I'm like, settled. This is going to be great. From now on, it's going to be clear sailing. Boy, was that, I am just, you know, the yoga person. I can do this, you know. A couple days later, I mean, loud music. I mean, it was like, by now it was like 9:30. And I said, okay, this, and I'm like, I can't believe this. I said, okay. But finally I said, I have to go upstairs. I have to, and Lou was on the phone actually. He's like, just go up and say something. I'm like, okay. So I go upstairs and I knock on the door, and you know, he doesn't answer, and I have to pound on the door. Finally, he gets to the thing, and he opens it. I couldn't believe how loud it was. And he goes, oh, I fell asleep. I said, oh, well, I said, it's loud. You know, he goes, okay, I'm gonna, you know. So I said, okay, I'm walking downstairs. I said, that's gonna be really it. I mean, come on, you know, now you're really mindful. So, you know, a month later or whatever, I was talking to Lou, and Lou said, well, why don't you just get the broom and, you know, hit the ceiling? And I said, that's not me. I am not the kind of person who hits the, you know, more communication or something. This is going to work. And I tell you, it's like Groundhog Day. I almost felt like it was Groundhog Day, because every day I would wake up and I would be praying, please go out today. You know, please take your wife out, you know. And, you know, it was Friday night, Saturday night. Please go out tonight. I'll give you money, you know. I mean, this is like, I'm getting crazy. So finally, you know, blah, blah, blah. A couple days, you know, weeks and months later, you know, I'm sitting there on my couch, and he's going back and forth. I don't know what he talks about. I honestly, I'm like laughing. I'm like, what can you possibly be talking about? Back and forth. Finally, I go into the kitchen, I grab the broom, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I became this woman, this crazy woman with a broom. And I said to myself, wow, when did that happen? And silence. He just went silent. I think he was like shocked, because I think he was, wow, I mean, I have a yogi down there. She's not going to do anything. And I became this boom, you know. And then silence. And again, I said to myself, this is going to be it now, because he's, you know, that's it. You know, a couple days later, he's still the noise. And I'm saying to myself, okay, what's the answer here? There obviously, you know, I feel like I'm putting a square peg inside of a circle, you know. And I think the answer is it's time for me to move. you know? I mean, what else can I do? I mean, I've tried to reason, I've tried to be nice, I've tried to, you know, and I don't want to be the crazy one with the broom constantly. So the more, you know, it's just ironic. I just find it ironic. You think you're just, you know, I pride myself in being just this mellow, you know, I can handle anything, but you know, you get tested. You get tested. So that's the end of my story. And I don't know. I'll probably be moving soon. I don't know what the answer is. So.
Well, by the way, before I get started here, I want to tell you a brief story. I'm going to tell you a brief story, but before I do that, I have to finish Karen's story. Because she's a coward, she didn't get to the best part, which is why I wanted her to tell the story in the first place. The broom hitting the ceiling, getting the guy upstairs to quiet down. She did it. She kept doing it. She kept doing it. I was on the phone with her, and we're chatting, and I heard her go, boom, boom, boom. Well, last week I went over to Karen's house, and about 6 o'clock in the morning, she and I were frolicking. And I heard this coming from upstairs. That's the end of the story. Good night, everybody.